Hey everyone, Jit Puru here. And if you're in sales, and specifically if you are in the insurance industry, this video message is for you. My new book, The Sales-Rejection Paradox, just got published a couple of weeks ago, and I want to take this opportunity to share some of the thoughts that I've put into this book with you. I know for a fact that these tools, these strategies, these thoughts that I'm going to share with you is going to help you towards achieving your sales targets and your sales goals by the end of this year. As we know, sales is both easy and difficult to be in. Sales is easy because if we were to strip away all the noise around how difficult sales really is, sales only comes down to 4 steps and 4 steps alone. First, we got to have something to sell. Second, we got to look out for the people who may need what we're selling. Third, we've got to tell them about what we're selling. And fourth, we've got to ask them if they want to buy what we're selling. And sales comes down to just these 4 steps. But what makes sales difficult is this. At the end of these 4 steps, only one of 2 things can happen. Either the prospect says yes or the prospect says no. If the prospect says yes, we go back to step 1, feeling on top of the world. We feel positive, we feel confident because we just closed the sale. And that affects the next cycle positively. But when we go back to step 1 from a no, what we carry with us is rejections. What we need to understand is rejection is both an act and an emotion. The act of rejection is when the prospect exercises their right to say no. We have all exercised that right to say no before. Think about that time when you are walking around in a shopping mall and then a salesperson comes up to you and tries to persuade you to buy something that they are selling, and you exercise your right to say no. So when a prospect says no to you, they are exercising that same right to say no. But what happens is the act of rejection triggers the emotion of rejection from within. When the prospect says no to us, what gets triggered internally, whether we consciously realize it or not, the emotion of rejection gets triggered. And the emotion of rejection will trigger a variety of other negative emotions. Emotions such as doubt, uncertainty, insecurity. We might be questioning our abilities and our capabilities, and that in return will bring our spirits down. It will make us feel demoralized and demotivated. It may not happen at the very first no, but as the no's start piling up, these feelings of rejection will not only compound, they will intensify. And that is why knowing how to deal with the emotion of rejection, in my opinion, is of utmost importance towards gearing you for your sales success. Because when you know how to deal with those rejections, if you know how to reset that emotions of rejection from within, then you can now go back to step 1 of the sales cycle and at the very least approach it with neutral emotions. Because if you carry the negative emotions of rejection with you through the next cycle, it will affect the next cycle, not as positively as you want it to be. So now comes the question, what can you do to reset your emotions? So in my book itself, I've detailed many different tools, many different strategies that you can utilize, from principles to philosophy and self-coaching methodology. But what I'm going to share with you right now is just 1 principle and 2 techniques which you can use right away. So the principle that I want to share with you is this. While a lot of things can happen to us, we always have control of one thing, and that is the way that we choose to think. So the first principle is control what you can control, and what we can always control is the thoughts that we choose to have. If we were to look at the simple EQ model, the thoughts, feelings, and actions model, what that shows is that our thoughts influence our emotions, which is our feelings, and our feelings influence our actions. And in return, our actions will influence our result. But this is not a linear process. because emotions can affect thoughts as well. Actions can affect both emotions and thoughts, and results can influence everything from our thoughts to our feelings to our subsequent actions. While all of these things may not be in our control 100%, one area of it can be in our control, I would say maybe about 99%, and that is our thoughts, what we choose to think. So that is why we have to embrace this principle of controlling what we can control, which is what we want to think, because when we choose how we want to think, it will then affect how we're going to feel, and then that will affect our actions and in return our results. So how do we choose how to think? Right? Because sometimes a negative experience may send us spiraling towards negative thoughts. For example, you've spent months, preparing for a very important interview with a client, which you had a very good feeling that it was going to go your way, the client's going to say yes, and the deal was going to be closed. After months of preparation, you sit down in front of the client, you're feeling really confident. You, in your opinion, you delivered the best presentation you could present. You presented the client with everything that the client needs. But for some reason, the client looks at you and just says no. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they don't have the funds. Maybe they just don't like you. You don't know why they said no, but you feel this sense of disappointment just creeping in, right? And now, because you have invested so much time, effort, and resource into this one appointment, as soon as the appointment is over and you're on your way, you can't help but just think, why did this happen? You start feeling so disappointed that you felt like you've wasted so much of time, effort, and resource, and this scenario keeps playing in your head over and over and over again. And the more time you spend in negative thoughts, the stronger those emotions will become, and you will spiral down this rabbit hole, and without realizing it, you might be stuck there for a very long time. But remember, you can control what is in your hands, which is your thoughts. And that is where the self-coaching methodology is going to come in. So I'm going to teach you right now 2 simple self-coaching methodology. The first one is a simple phrase, It's going to sound really easy, but trust me, when you use these 2 words, it will shift your thoughts and perspective immediately. So what are these 2 words? So what? That's it. So when you are feeling negative, when you feel or you catch yourself having these negative thoughts, ask yourself, so what? So you have spent weeks and months preparing for a very important interview, and then the client says no. So what? You have invested a lot of time towards setting up an appointment, and then the client cancels at the very last minute. So what? Ask yourself these 2 words. The power of these 2 words is this. When we are focused on a problem and we are focused on the negative outcome of the problem, what happens is this. We get into this mode of a tunnel vision where we do not see beyond the negative outcome or the unfavorable outcome. And the more time we spend in that place, the more intense the negative emotions become. By simply asking the question, so what we're introducing is a pattern interrupt. We are shifting our perspectives just like that and making us look beyond the problem and beyond the negative, the unfavorable outcome. We start getting perspective again towards, all right, this didn't work. So what? Because there are more people to see, more positive outcomes may be in our way. So the question, so what, is a very powerful pattern interrupt that is going to shift us away from feeling like a victim towards being a solution finder. So that's the first self-coaching methodology that I want to share with you, which is so what? And believe me, the next time you're feeling negative, try it immediately and you will feel a difference. The second self-coaching technique that I want to share with you is a journaling technique. For this exercise, you are going to need a pen and a paper. My recommendation to you would be this. Have a journal with you at all times. Have a book, empty pages, where you can write your thoughts down as and when you feel like it. You also use this book to perform this self-coaching exercise. This self-coaching exercise pretty much is going to be 4 questions that you will need to answer. And you will have to answer these 4 questions in the order that I'm going to be presenting it to you and in the exact words that I've used. So ask the question the way I'm going to present it to you. So, question number 1, what am I feeling? So when you are feeling down, when you are feeling demotivated, when you're feeling dejected, and when you have this awareness that you're feeling down, the first question you ask yourself is, what am I feeling? And write down whatever that comes to your mind. Don't judge yourself. Don't be too overcritical or over-analytical. The idea here is this. The idea here is to take what's in here, what's building up in here, and transferring it to a piece of paper so that you feel freer up here. So question number 1, what am I feeling? Write down whatever that comes to your mind. Question number 2, what led me to feel this way? So now you answer the question as it is. You write down whatever that led you to feel this way. So if you're feeling dejected, demotivated because a client said no to you, write that down. Hey, I spent 3 weeks preparing for this presentation. It was a very important presentation. I had a very good feeling about it. I sat down with the client. I presented it to the best of my ability, and the client said no. So I'm feeling very demotivated. I'm feeling dejected. And just write that down. Once again, don't be overcritical about what you're writing. Don't overanalyze it. Don't be too judgmental over yourself. Just write it down. Question number 3. How much longer do I want to feel this way? To me, this is one of the most important questions you can ask yourself, because it now gives you the power of choice. Because the reality is this: if you are feeling demoralized, and if it is your conscious decision to feel demoralized for a month, then so be it. Own it and live with it and be demoralized for a month. If you want to feel demotivated for an entire year, then own it. Be demotivated for a year, because it's a conscious choice. The problem is, a lot of times we get in a state unconsciously and we stay in that state unconsciously. And we think that we don't have a choice. It's just the way that we feel. But there is a choice. So ask yourself, how much longer do you want to feel the way that you're feeling? And whatever that you write down, own it and be in that state for however long you choose to be in it. It's got to be a conscious choice. But chances are, the moment you ask yourself, how much longer do I want to feel this way? More often than not, the answer is going to be, you don't want to feel this way. You want to feel better immediately, because why would you want to stay demotivated for more time than it should? So question number 4 is, what must I do next to feel better? And write down the answers. And believe me, each and every one of you know what you need to do to feel motivated again, to feel energized again. It's in there. You have just not asked yourself. You have not brought it to your awareness. So these 4 questions is a very powerful self-coaching methodology, but you have to write it down. So once again, what are the 4 questions? Question number 1, what am I feeling? Question number 2, what led me to feel this way? Question number 3, how much longer do I want to feel this way? And question number 4, what must I do next to feel better? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very short video which I wanted to share with you, which I know will help you towards achieving your sales goals for this year. But in my book, The Sales-Rejection Paradox, there's a lot more methodologies in there, including self-coaching techniques and habits that you can create for yourself to reset those negative emotions. The paradox in sales is this: the more people you present to, the higher the probability of closing a sale. At the same time, the more people you present to, the more rejections you are going to receive, because rejections is part and parcel of sales. You cannot have sales without experiencing rejections every now and again. So with this, I like to wish you all the best for the next half of the year towards achieving your sales goals. Your activity is going to increase, so rejections is going to increase, but that is just a stepping stone towards growth. Rejection is not a signal to stop. It is a stepping stone for growth. So utilize the rejections that come your way to learn how to grow from it and how to be better, and at the same time with the tools to reset your emotions after each rejection, it is going to put you in a better position for the next appointment. So with that, Jit Puru here once again. Thank you so much for having me today, and I wish you a wonderful year ahead.